Coming up, eyes on DC's City Council, Maryland campaigns, prison capital, and how you can join the socialist fight. But first, Mayor Muriel Bowser, betrayer. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MDC Dispatch. I'm your host, Tony, and I'll be bringing you the news and events from Metro DC DSA. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and be on the lookout for a new Dispatch episode every first and third Sunday each month. It's been 3 weeks since Trump began the occupation of D.C., and while people have been taking a stand, our mayor has capitulated to the fascist regime. On Tuesday, September 2nd, Mayor Muriel Bowser kissed the ring by signing Mayor's Order 20250-090. The baffling move is a complete betrayal of D.C., the very people Bowser is meant to serve. It not only legitimizes the occupation, but also trumps lies about DC's inability to home rule. The order even uses Trump's own language, acknowledging the so-called Safe and Beautiful Emergency Operations Center, while the order calls for federal law enforcement to adhere to so-called effective community policing practices, such as not wearing masks. Let's just say I don't see much community confidence in law enforcement being maintained while people are being kidnapped by ICE. The move is not likely to be popular with D.C. residents, considering the nearly 80-20 opposition to the occupation. D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab, 2 days later, on September 4th, filed a lawsuit against the illegal occupation. A lawsuit might not amount to much given the current state of the courts, but even this move was too much for Bowser, who is so committed to cooperation with Trump that she pushed to delay the lawsuit until after the 30-day window. Bowser is trying to couch this approach as a way to end the occupation, but she has also touted reductions in crime since the fascist forces entered the city, trying to give the impression they are beneficial to the district. This is nonsense, as Todd Cox with the NAACP Legal Defense Fund called the order, quote, alarming, misguided, and profoundly disappointing. Cox continues, quote, an increased presence of armed federal law enforcement officers in the district will not make our communities safer. Safety for D.C. residents must include protection from police violence. Yet the mayor's decision subjects D.C. residents to an increased risk of it. Moreover, the district's cooperation in targeting unhoused people to forcibly clear their encampments has nothing to do with public safety and instead only further destabilizes and harms our most vulnerable residents. By embracing the president's targeting of unhoused people for law enforcement action, the mayor's order condones and gives cover to his coercive and punitive policies towards unhoused D.C. residents. End quote. I couldn't have said it better myself. Mayor Bowser, you have abandoned D.C. and collaborated with fascists. You are complicit and you will be held accountable to the people of this city. The D.C. Council has failed to stop Bowser's myopic platform or marshal an alternative vision to oppose it. The slow growth of D.C.'s left bloc, helmed by Councilmember Louis George and anchored by Councilmembers Parker, Nadeau, Fruman, and Robert White, has been assembling an opposition, but discoordination, especially from Liberals Henderson and Allen, has frustrated the project. Still, there are signs the council's left is planning to coalesce opposition to the puppet regime. Robert White, one of the expected contenders for next year's mayoral race, released a strong statement outlining a clear set of actions D.C.'s government can take to challenge the federal occupation, and even joined Socialists on the streets last weekend. However, while working people in the city want to trust Councilmember White, his recent council maneuvers undermining tenant protections and tipped workers' wages don't make it easy. Focus on the D.C. occupation has been intense, but Socialists have been leading their own electoral offense in Maryland. Metro DC DSA has endorsed chapter members Frankie Santos Fritz for Greenbelt City Council and Amodamola Williams for Gaithersburg City Council. The Prince George's County and Montgomery County branches of the chapter have been mobilizing members to action by organizing canvassing expeditions. Upcoming campaign events include an orientation on Wednesday, joint fundraiser in Rockville on Sunday, and multiple canvasses every weekend in both Greenbelt and Gaithersburg. See the weekly update or calendar of events for full details. As Trump is now threatening to invade Baltimore, electing socialists connected directly to Maryland's working class will be vital for defending the state from federal attacks. Spanish Club for Socialists is a free weekly event where people can meet to practice their Spanish. Initiated by Metro DC DSA and local mutual aid and tenant organizing outfits, The club aims to expand Spanish language skills among the DC area left. The next session runs about 90 minutes and are split into beginner, intermediate, and advanced groups, so learners of all levels should feel welcome. The next session is scheduled for Monday, September 8th at 7 p.m. at the Potter's House in DC. Reflecting through an abolitionist lens, 20 years after Hurricane Katrina, a new N+1 interview remembers victims from the Orleans Parish Prison and reevaluates Louisiana's road to becoming a major carceral state, the prison capital of the world. Author of Prison Capital, Mass Incarceration, and Struggles for Abolition Democracy in Louisiana, Lydia Pillow-Hobbs illustrates the driving forces, neoliberal policies, the oil economy, and law and order politics. In spite of these headwinds, post-Katrina grassroots organizers with campaigns like Safe Streets, Strong Communities were able to create the first full-time public defender positions in New Orleans by 2007 and shrink the capacity of the city jail by around 80% from its peak of over 7,000 beds in 2005 to less than 1,500 in 2016. We must stay vigilant of the capacity to cage in the modern era and prevent further human rights violations. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. Join our chapter for any of the huge slate of events coming up in the next few weeks, RSVPs, linked in the description. Get involved with our NOVA Electoral Working Group, which is hosting its monthly meeting tonight, September 7th at 7 p.m. Are you looking for a new job? Want to join the labor movement and build power on the shop floor for your coworkers? Join our Workers Organizing Workers WOW SELT training series. Monday, September 8th, 8 p.m. Join MDC DSA Labor for our September working group meeting. At this meeting, we will be discussing updates from the ongoing labor campaigns, identifying action steps for solidarity, and sharing opportunities for further organizing. Tuesday, September 9th at 6:30 p.m. Want to talk about socialism? In the Capitalism and Socialism DSA new member cohort, we will unpack the contradictions of capitalism and socialism, how we live in them, how we talk about them, and how to dream of a world drastically different from the one we live in today. Wednesday, September 10th at 6 p.m. Volunteer to canvass for DSA-endorsed Frankie Santos Fritz in Greenbelt. Make new friends, get political experience, and join the happy hour afterwards. No experience necessary. September 7th, 13th, 14th, 20th, 27th, and 28th, with a special cookout on the 21st. Metro DC DSA will be hosting its September General Body meeting on the 14th. Join us to discuss chapter business and for the happy hour afterwards. Also on the 14th, Metro DC DSA endorsed members Frankie Santos Fritz and Omodemola Williams are holding a fundraiser for their city council campaigns. Join Metro DC DSA for the fundraiser at Clear Skies Meadery at 6 p.m. Join your comrades with the Nova branch for a social meetup at Quincy Bear Hall. All are welcome, September 18th, 6:30 p.m. More than just DSA is hosting events in the coming weeks, so are many other groups. Here's one other upcoming event. Join Free DC and the Claudia Jones School for Queer Safe Free DC Town Hall, a community town hall for LGBTQ+ DC residents to discuss the urgent issues threatening our communities in the wake of the Trump administration's attacks on DC and beyond. This will be followed by a free DC orientation on how our community can fight back, September 15th at 6. Find these activities and many more at the calendar of events on our website or in our full weekly update, also linked in the description. Occupy DC and the DMV are under siege by militaristic authoritarians. Want to fight fascism from the heart of empire? Want to throw sand into the gears of power? Visit DSAUSA.org to join DSA and fight to build socialism. We're the alternative that works for people, not profiteers and their captive politicians. Metro DC DSA is the third largest chapter in America with over 2,000 members. We're very active in the community and have groups focused on labor, tenant rights, LGBTQ rights, environmental activism, and much more. DSA is the largest socialist organization in America, and we would love to have you as a member. These and other stories, along with links and sources, can be found in the Metro DC DSA Weekly Update newsletter, which you can find linked in the description. This production has been a collaboration of members of Metro DC DSA. Look for new videos on the first and third Sunday every month. I'm your host, Tony. A better world is possible.